Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Anonymous Contributors Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a musical from 1981 that I've wanted to watch for a long time. That movie is called Shock Treatment. Now, as some of you know, I do have a bit of a soft spot when it comes to musicals. Well, certain musicals. And my all-time favorite is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Shock Treatment here is the kind of sort of sequel to Rocky Horror. And when I say kind of sort of sequel, I mean it still centers around Brad and Janet, who are the main characters of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So really, that's like the only real connection here, barring a handful of cast members from Rocky Horror also playing in this film, but they aren't playing their original Rocky Horror characters. So this is a whole new story focusing entirely on Brad and Janet. And I guess I'm feeling a little bit iffy on this simply on the grounds that I thought that Barry Bostwick and Susan Sarandon were awesome in Rocky Horror as Brad and Janet, and I'm not sure if the new actors, I don't even know who in the hell they've cast as Brad and Janet, are going to live up to that. But the only way for me to find out if they are going to be any good, or even if this movie is going to be halfway decent, is if I quit fucking stalling, I shut the fuck up, and I push play. And I intend to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Shock Treatment. Is Brad singing to the appliances he's getting for appearing on this show? My god, he fucking is! Okay, the songs in this one aren't quite as good as the ones in Rocky Horror, but it's still early. I'm kind of hoping it picks up from here. So, the head of a fast food corporation wants to take over the world. Okay, I guess that's kind of sort of believable. I actually kind of wish that more of this movie would make even just a little bit of fucking sense, but at least I can buy into that a little bit. You know, guys, I really wish this story would get better. So far, I really haven't seen any kind of motivation for any of this to happen outside of one off mention that the head of this evil fast food empire wants Janet for himself. That's really the only motivation we have in this entire fucking movie. And it was mentioned just basically, like offhandedly in the fucking intro. This movie has stayed in neutral ever since, and it's getting a little bit depressing. I was really expecting a little bit more out of this. Okay, guys, I'm kind of having a little bit of a hard time buying that Janet went from this loving, caring, honest girl fucking next door, and she just instantly becomes like a super bitch the very moment that anyone besides Brad shows her any kind of honest to God attention. This right here is just such a sudden character change. It's really fucking jarring. It's like everybody's talking about how she's so wholesome, she's this, she's that. She was barely wholesome at the start of the fucking film, and she's gotten worse since, and I just can't buy the character change. The writing here is a little bit sketchy, and it's kind of sad, really. You know, guys, I really don't think I'm asking much, but this is a musical, right? Can we please have at least one memorable song? Listen to this bullshit. The song kind of sucks, and that's kind of par, there's kind of par for this course. A lot of these songs are not that good, and one big sin is that none of them are really all that memorable. I'm really beginning to loathe this, and I never thought I'd be saying that. And so the movie ends on a non-ending. Yay. Alright, I'm going to shut that off. Well, folks, that was Shock Treatment, and I'm really disappointed. I really wanted to love this. Perhaps maybe it's because I love Rocky Horror so much that maybe I just wanted the pseudo kind of sequel to be good, and sadly it's not. Allow me to begin by talking about the writing. Excuse me, I'm still getting over this fucking cold. The writing, I'm going to break this up into two different things. I'm going to talk first about the songs, and then I'll get to the story itself, because one thing, guys, what you want when you're making a musical is you want catchy songs, and this doesn't have that. Catchy songs usually have really good lyrics. They have like a really good beat, and they have really awesome rhythm. Something which you'll probably be humming, whistling, or singing long after you are done watching. Anyone who's watched like Rocky Horror or almost any other good musical knows exactly what I mean when I say that a good musical has songs that are going to get stuck in your head for weeks. This movie did not have that. I could not find a single catchy song. In fact, guys, the movie just ended, and I barely remember how the closing song went. All right? It just ended. I barely remember the fucking rhythm of the closing song. That is how absolutely forgettable the music in this movie is. Which is kind of sad, because I was expecting far, far better. Now we get to the story itself, and the story here is ridiculously lacking. First of all, the whole thing is set inside of a television studio, which, okay, that's kind of sort of cool. Apparently there's a mental hospital built on set, because one of the big shows on this channel is called Dentonvale, which is set inside of the mental hospital. And the mental hospital is just nothing but padded walls. Nothing but sterile, white, padded walls. And you're looking at that for most of the movie. Everything else is just shots of the audience or shots of the one or two other, like set, pieces which are in the studio. And none of it really looks at any, good, but that actually is me talking about set, design. I'm talking about writing. And our characters, specifically Janet, goes through such big, sweeping changes with literally no honest-to-God motivation. Why exactly does she go from a loving wife to a fucking super, bitch just like that? Because she was told point blank that Brad is an emotional, worthless cripple. He is a worthless, emotional cripple and not worth her time. Thus, he is a worthless, emotional cripple and not worth her time. She is the most easily led person in the world. When they tell her that she is the darling of the fucking nation, even though she's been on TV all of one time for less than 2 minutes, she totally buys into it, and she takes on this massive ego. All this happens, mind you guys, this whole movie is set over a 24-hour span. So she goes basically from nothing to megastar in one night, appearing on television literally twice. Once on some kind of a bizarro, like, marriage counseling show. And then again when she is introduced in her little black dress and everything else, yada yada yada. She is darling of the nation, and she's going to be the host of Farley Flavor's new Faith fucking show, his Faith Factory show, where he's going to try to sell mental health and fast food in order to take over the world. Literally, that is his entire fucking plan. And he needs Janet to fucking do it, and there's a reason why, and it's part of probably the stupidest twist in film history. I swear to God, that twist towards the end is one of the dumbest goddamn things you will ever see. And speaking of the ending, while I'm on it, Janet also goes from America's darling to worthless sack of shit, just like that. Why? Because the audience is told she's a worthless sack of shit, and so they immediately shun her. So it's not just Janet, who apparently has the memory of a goldfish, it's the entire town of Denton, which is kind of sad when you really think about it. The writing here is just piss poor from top to bottom. I couldn't find a single likable character, and not a single one of these situations made a lick of sense. And the story goes nowhere. I'm telling you guys right now, this movie starts off a little bit sketchy, and it doesn't go forward. We get literally no kind of actual development from any character outside of Janet going from loving housewife to mega bitch just like that. That's literally it in terms of character depth or character development. Nobody else gets any kind of build-up. Anyway, so writing here kind of sucks, and the songs are nowhere near as catchy as in better musicals, such as Rocky Horror. What about the songs themselves? Well, I have already talked about that. The songs are not really catchy. However, though, singing-wise, almost everybody turns in a halfway decent showing, minus a couple of songs where the singing totally sucks. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm just going to say right now, nobody here is going to turn in a singing performance that was going to win any kind of fucking awards. Almost everybody's turning in a passable showing at best. Nobody was really putting in a whole lot of effort, and that's the best we could be asked for here. In terms of acting, though, excuse me, acting is where it gets bad, because almost everybody in the cast apparently did not give a shit about making this movie. The one person who I noticed the most in terms of not giving a shit when it came to acting was Richard O'Brien, which is so weird because Richard O'Brien is the man who wrote Shock Treatment. He wrote Rocky Horror. He acted in both films. He proved in Rocky Horror that he knows how to both act and sing. Apparently between then and this, he lost the ability to act. Either that or there was some jackass behind the scenes who changed so much of his script he just gave up and didn't bother to put in any effort in terms of acting. I don't know. But really, nobody here is turning in a real showing, so perhaps maybe it was some kind of a change-up in fucking, like writing that caused everybody to just fucking lash out and just not act. I don't know. Frankly, I don't much care. The acting here is just not good. I have covered the sets. The sets in this thing are just absolutely hideous. They all look ridiculously low budget, which is funny considering the fact that if the ending is to be fucking believed, TV, Denton Television is broadcast nationally. So if it's being broadcast nationally, why the hell does it have a set? Or why the hell does it have multiple sets, which are so shitty that they fucking make the low-rent sets for Mystery Science Theater look like large budget sets? How the hell can you pass off that? Excuse me. Alright, so we have sets which are just ridiculously ugly, which is kind of par for the course here. When we have terrible acting and we have shitty songs, I guess also it kind of makes sense for the sets to kind of suck, too. While I'm on the subject here of looking kind of ugly, the film itself, at least the DVD, at times looks really, really sharp. However, there is a small gimmick here in this film. Whenever you see something which is being broadcast on DTV, they basically put like a fuzzy like television filter over everything. And if I actually could put on a decent one, I'd probably show you what I mean, but frankly, my editing software doesn't allow me to do that. Now, right here is the thing. Everything which isn't being broadcast looks really sharp and really vivid, looks really good. The stuff that is being broadcast, I do not know if it's just that the filter was a bit too thick. I don't know if it's just that they didn't bother to remaster that, but all of it looks really fuzzy and kind of ugly. Again, I don't know if that was intended. I don't really know if they just were a bit lazy when it came to remastering the film. I don't know, and really I shouldn't fucking care. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Just fair warning for anyone who watches this. Anything which is being broadcast on, anything which is being shown from the point of view of the fucking DTV cameras is going to look ugly as hell. Let's just get that out there. And yeah, beyond that, guys, ultimately, can I recommend this movie? No, I can't. I'm still ridiculously disappointed by how bad this was. I was not expecting greatness. I was not expecting a classic. But I was at least hoping for something good, and this is not good. This is barely watchable. The only way I could possibly recommend it is if you're a huge Rocky Horror fan and you're just curious what the hell follow-up would have, or rather is, like. And the answer is it's not that good. I'm still, wow, I am kind of speechless as to exactly how disappointed I am with this, which is funny because I've been rambling on for probably a good 10 fucking minutes about it. But hey, I'm just gonna say once more, this thing failed to live up to any of the expectations I had set, and that's kind of sad. Now, because this is Anonymous Contributors Month, Shock Treatment here did come off of the Amazon wish list, but I don't know who sent it in. But to whoever did, thank you, because I was curious about watching this thing for years. In fact, my younger brother watched it. He also is a big Rocky Horror fan, and he kind of warned me it sort of sucked. However, I also know that his taste in movies and mine oftentimes vary drastically. So I kind of thought maybe I would find something that he couldn't. But no, dude, you were, totally right. This movie kind of sucks. However, I am still happy that I gave it a watch because, shit, I always wanted to at least give it a chance. It's just kind of a pity that it couldn't live up to any of the expectations I had set. And even if I had set those expectations lower, it still wouldn't have cleared them. This is probably one of the worst musicals I've seen in a long time, and that's saying a lot, because I've seen some really bad fucking I've seen some bad musicals, guys. This thing here, it just feels less, like a sequel or a follow-up. It feels more like a soulless cash-in that was done to just try to squeeze a couple more dimes out of the fucking Rocky Horror cow before the fucking teats went dry. And really, this just, wow, it just really sucked, guys. I really need to just go and do something else. I'm probably going to go pop in my copy of Rocky Horror, just so that way I can remember that at one point Richard O'Brien could actually write a good story and catchy songs. So I am going to go do that, guys, and plus I'm going to drink a ton of fucking like orange juice or something. My fucking throat's killing me, you can probably tell. So guys, with that we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.